Tom Maddox is with us right now, the founder of Underwater Forensic Investigators. Tom, thank you for being with us, especially on such a sad day. You have 45 years in the industry as a diving expert. You also are a member of the 2005 Titanic submarine expedition. So can you just tell our viewers how much you know about the wreckage of the Titanic and this particular site?
Well, when we knew that the Titan went missing, obviously your mind rushes to the worst possible scenario, which would be a catastrophic failure. But your heart and your mind wants to find some hope and hope that that's not the case, as is the case with all the rescuers and the search team. We're hoping to find a miracle and bring them back. As your earlier was stated, it's a hostile environment. It's unforgiving. There's no way you can manipulate or move the environment around to suit you. You're encapsulated, you're a visitor, and there's so many things that can go wrong. That is the harshest environment in the world, is the deep ocean. And it's unforgiving, as I said, and going down there is always a risk.
You know, we heard the Coast Guard talk about this catastrophic implosion. Can you tell people at home what that means?
Well, the submarine is actually submersible. It's different than a submarine. Is actually the capsule or the cruise quarters is actually a very confined space that's maintained at 1 atmosphere of pressure, which is about 14 pounds of pressure in there, which is what we experience on the surface. So the idea is that being encapsulated like that, the pressure doesn't affect you. You don't have issues like the bends, or of course that deep it would crush you. So the pressure at the bottom on the Titanic is about between 5,500 and 6,000 pounds. That's 400 times greater than on the surface. So if there's a breach in the hull, the inside of the submersible actually becomes a vacuum compared to the pressure on the outside. And if there's even the slightest breach, nature takes over, physics takes over, and that outside pressure of the ocean rushes in within milliseconds to implode, to fill in the vacuum in the submersible, and the submersible implodes. It also creates dynamic heat, I understand, the heat of the sun, and then crushes the sub instantaneously.
The Wall Street Journal reported there were sounds consistent with an implosion that is detected on Sunday. You mentioned earlier that this is something that you could predict in some category, and yet you keep this optimism, this hope alive. Is that why so much in terms of international response, heavy equipment, machinery that could reach the bottom of the ocean was brought in at such a high cost, in spite of the fact that they did see proof that this was a tragedy?
Well, I believe that the sounds that they heard and they are now saying was possibly the implosion of the sub was not definitive at that time. And also, they weren't sure that it was actually an implosion. So they kept the search going, and they brought in those assets. I think their feeling was that anything that they can do that's humanly possible to bring these people home, they would do. It was no doubt about it, one of the biggest, most expensive searches that we know of
and yet there was the sound of the implosion, and we still put so many resources behind it. I think a lot of people are sad, but I think, frankly, a lot of us are angry. Why in the world are these commercial companies allowed to go on these expeditions and put civilians in places that only 3 ships in the entire world can travel to?
Yeah, I think that's a valid argument, and I'm certainly not the one to decide for the world. Everybody's going to decide on their own. Exploration is a risky business. I understand that, some people feel that the assets shouldn't. I've talked to a lot of people who just say, hey, if you're going to take the chance, you take the chance. That's not for me to decide, and I'm really not sure. I can see both sides of the argument.
Right, but obviously this may change governance over these water explorations, quite certainly. And you're nodding.
I truly believe that.
Yeah, you're nodding in agreement. Tom Maddox, thank you so much for your time this morning. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it also.
Yes.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.